Welcome back. We're going to dive in to our fourth match in the standard event, and let's see what we're up against. So we've played a couple controlling decks so far. I think it'd be interesting to be paired against an aggro opponent, like a mono red, or maybe one of the black aggressive decks. I think it would be a different type of matchup where we bring in a totally different suite of sideboard cards. So let's see if we can find somebody with an aggressive slant in this round. Alright, and if we do, we definitely have the tools that we need. We've got a Kaya's Wrath and a Teferi to slow them down. So certainly a keepable hand. Blue, black. Interesting. Well, I also have that color combination available. I have not played anything resembling a mirror match in a very long time, so I kind of doubt that's what we're up here. Okay. Looks like some sort of a Sultai control, Sultai ramp deck. So, Nissa is one of the scariest cards out of this deck. They may be running some amount of casualties of war as well, so we should keep that in mind and try to play in a way that minimizes the damage from that card if we can. Alright, they're going to Growth Spiral here, so they may be shy on lands. They are. Ooh, Narset feels really, really strong against a deck that's using things like Uro and Growth Spiral. So I am going to keep both of these on top so that I can play her here. Oh, man. Silly mistake. I obviously needed to find an untapped blue source. Only had 3 lands there. Hopefully that one does not come back to bite us. I can feel myself blushing over that one. That was a pretty terrible one. Okay, and they can now pick off the Narset if they choose to. Do have Treacherous Blessing to generate quite a bit of card advantage as well. But yeah, I should have definitely played out a different land and a Teferi on that last turn. Still get a chance to do that now. I don't think it makes sense to Treacherous Blessing. It's just going to give us way too many cards in hand. Let's play to the battlefield here.
I know my responsibility.
And I'm tempted to bluff a Mystical Dispute, but I can't imagine that they're actually going to play around it, so we'll just play that tapped. So worst case scenario, which I can't help myself from naming, would be untapped land Nissa. Anything other than that feels like we should be okay to deal with. Alright, Tamiyo's pretty good. I'm not going to do anything too crazy in the near term. It would be nice to draw an Oath of Kaya now to be able to take out the Tamiyo, or an Elspeth Conquers Death. Even a Banishing Light would be pretty good. So I'm going to start off with the Omen of the Sea. And even though I can't play this turn, it's definitely good enough to keep in hand. Pick up there. Play another Omen of the Sea and a Scryland. Oh man. I think I want both of these. Order it like this to hide the Elspeth Conquers Death. That way if they have another discard spell, they won't be able to get both of them. If they have 2 discard spells, that is. But we are going to leave that on top. Elspeth Conquers Death is such a powerful answer and a big swing. So here, maybe we're a little worried about casualties of war because it does slow us down a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Nissa is obviously a really strong draw, but now that we have answers to it, I'm not as worried about it.
Be wary of the ground you walk on.
And they are still not making land drop, so on the downside, that means they've got all action in hand. But on the plus side, they're not just going to be running away with a huge advantage because they're pinched on mana. So here we have to deal with Nissa. And then on the following turn, we have potentially another Elspeth Conquers Death coming down, or a combination of Oath of Kaya and Teferi.
Seek and find.
They're trying to load up their yard here. See what they look for. Maybe another Nissa. It's probably the most dangerous thing that they have. Could also name Casualties of War. Ashia. Interesting. So they will probably bring back the Uro here. In which case... Oh, okay, never mind. They're gonna attack our hand here. Leaving us with the Elspeth Conquers Death. That's surprising, to say the least. It does stop us from double spelling on this turn, but happy to play this out and get rid of Tamiyo. And they actually can't Casualties of War here because of the Chapter 2 of Elspeth Conquers Death. If they bring back Uro, we can Wrath next turn to clear out their land and their Uro. And we are going to be starting to get back some of the Planeswalkers from our graveyard as well. I don't think that... I was going to say, I don't think the blue-black Thought Erasure, I'm glad they played it there. I don't think that spell is better than Agonizing Remorse right now, just because there's so much interaction with cards in the graveyard. It feels like exiling is really important. Yes, the Surveil can help power their Uros a little bit, but I think Agonizing Remorse is honestly just better right now. Okay. So here we'll get back a Narset.
My prowess is unmatched by my...
Do we want to do this before drawing 3 cards or after? I think before, actually, so we can cast the card potentially instead.
Hone your prowess.
Alright. And are we worried about our life total? If we are, we should Oath of Kaya and then draw 3. But I don't think we are, so let's draw 3 first. And this works out a lot better because now we can Mystic into Oath of Kaya. And we'll play out a tapped land here. So they've got a lot of Uros lurking in their graveyard, but with Narset on the board, I don't think I'm that worried. And again, they still cannot play a Casualties of War because of Chapter 2 from Elspeth Conquers Death. So even though we are pretty vulnerable to that right now, they're not going to have the opportunity to play it on this turn. So here they have to blow up our Elspeth Conquers Death, I think. Oh, 3 mana or less, so that was not even an option. Take that one back. Do I want to rebuy Teferi or Starfield Mystic? Starfield Mystic allows us to cast a ton of spells on this turn. Teferi allows us to bounce something like Omen of the Sea or Oath of Kaya. I think I'm actually going to go with the Starfield Mystic. It's going to get really big really fast. We may hit a Teferi off of Narset anyway. So we'll start with this.
Meditate and prepare.
Let's go Oath of Kaya taking out Vraska. We'll save, obviously, the Banishing Lights for things like Uro or Planeswalkers. And we can sacrifice these on their turn once we see what their plays are. So that feels pretty strong. But yeah, this is very quickly going to be a lethal threat, so I think it was actually slightly better to bring this back than Teferi, although we would have seen more cards with Teferi. Between the Scries, though, and Narset, we should be able to find some more action. And if we ever find Dance of the Mance, the game is just over. It does look like they now have the Casualties of War. Oh, nope, just an Uro. Okay. And they won't even get to draw the card off of it because of Narset. The potential for Casualties of War may have been an argument in favor of bringing back Teferi as well. Alright, and Paradise Druid, not particularly scary. And there is the Dance of the Mance. So that should do it. Go ahead and sack this one as well. And our Starfield Mystic is now bigger than Uro. Alright, this is going to be fun. So we'll go for 6 here. Get Treacherous, both Elspeth Conquers Death, Oath of Kaya, and Omens of the Seas. Keep the Creature Oath. A lot of triggers happening here. We'll go to the face with that one. Put both of those on the bot. Alright. They are the fun police. Not going to let us enjoy that one, but I still was enjoying stacking all of those triggers. Okay. Narset, super strong against this deck. Feels like Mystical Dispute's going to be pretty good as well. The one concern is they will get to a point where they could just pay Mystical Dispute. I think because I want some interaction early on when we're on the draw, it's worth bringing it in. What else should we be considering? Aether Gust feels pretty good as well. I just don't want to dilute our deck too much. Again, it's so synergy focused. We really want to sideboard kind of minimally. Let's cut the 2 Birth of Meletus, 1 Oath of Kaya. So we have at least 2 cards we can bring in here. Dovin's Veto can get stranded if they're just playing and replaying things like Uro. I'm going to bring in 2 Aether Gusts. Cut a Kaya's Wrath. Bring in a Mystical Dispute. Cut. Yeah, I think we're going to go with this setup. I like having 1 Wrath, and I think having at least 1 Mystical Dispute is good, but I'm not going to overdo it on it, and I do want to keep the core of our deck intact. So, do we want an Elder Spell? They have a lot of Planeswalkers, so I'm going to bring that one in. And to make room for it, I think we can cut a single Teferi. Didn't see a ton of things that it felt valuable to bounce. Teferi is always worse when you are on the draw, and it's not really essential to our core game plan. So I think that cutting at least one to make some room will make sense. Alright, and I love this starting hand because we have the wombo combo of Starfield Mystic into Doom Foretold into Elspeth Conquers Death potentially. So we're going to keep, and if they don't play to the board in the first few turns and they can't disrupt us, so 2 ands, we are going to put them in a really tough spot really quickly. The second Starfield Mystic is worse than the first. I don't think they really run a lot of removal, short of things like Vraska and Casualties of War. I'm going to bottom this one. It's obviously better than a land, but worse than just about every other draw once we already have one. Okay. So we'll run out the Starfield. Tamiyo's pretty awkward here. That does turn off, sort of, Doom Foretold, in that we will not be able to make them start sacrificing things. We do actually still get the trigger, though, the way the cards are worded. So they'll still have to discard, we'll gain the life, we'll get the 2/2, we'll draw the card. So it's not the end of the world if they play Tamiyo. Oh, there is the other removal that they brought in. Fair enough. So we'll go ahead and play Omen of the Sea on this turn. So obviously if I knew they had Tyrant Scorn coming in, I would have kept the second Mystic, but not the end of the world. Alright, so this is a little bit awkward. We are going to be able to Banishing Light on Nissa. Let's get these lands out of the way. So we can Banishing Light Nissa this turn, and then Doom Foretold or Elspeth Conquers Death on a following turn. If we Doom Foretold right now, they just sack Paradise Druid. They are gaining a decent amount of mana from that exchange. I don't think we can afford to allow them to keep Nissa out. So I am going to go ahead and Banishing Light it. Land, Casualties of War, pretty bad for us. Short of that, or another Nissa right now, I think we have a chance to turn the corner, but don't love that that came in untapped. Feels like we are getting Casualties of War here. Maybe not, though. Oh, Vraska. So they get rid of the Banishing Light. We are going to be able to buy that back with Dance of the Mance. Are we going to survive long enough to do that is the question.
Rise, my elemental friend.
Okay. So unfortunately, we are short on white mana. Otherwise, we could potentially double spell here fairly effectively. So I can bring back Banishing Light, getting rid of Nissa. I can also Starfield Mystic into Omen of the Sea. We're taking a lot of damage even if we get rid of Nissa here. Might be our only chance to survive, though. I'm going to go for this. I don't know that it really matters. There's not a whole lot we can do at this point. If we draw white mana next turn, it does open up a few more options, like Starfield Mystic into Doom Foretold. That could help us survive one more turn. Uh-oh. Looks like they're looking at our Banishing Light. It's not a good sign. If they exactly Casualties of War here, it does buy us a little bit of time because they're not attacking this turn, but we would need to find a Wrath for sure in that scenario. Okay. So depending on what they choose to sacrifice here, we might not be just dead. Alright, no sack. So, Starfield Mystic. I think we have to go for Starfield Mystic into Omen, hoping to find another white source. I don't know that we can survive by just running out Oath of Kaya. Could Oath of Kaya Omen on their own? I think I'm going to get greedy here. We're so far behind. We really need to maximize this turn. So while this does not guarantee we get to see the next turn, I think it does guarantee that we have the best possible chance of actually winning this game. But we need an untapped white source. Come on. Oh. Not going to do it. Okay. Yeah, even though we didn't find one, that still feels like the better play. Now, on the play here. Again, I don't love duress, filling up their yard, potentially whiffing. Just doesn't feel super strong. I like keeping our main game plan intact. So, yeah, I'm going to run this back, I think. Although, we did see quite a few more spells like Tyrant Scorn come in as well. So Duress does have a lot of targets. I'm going to actually bring in one Duress and cut the Kaya's Wrath. Is there anything else we can cut? Maybe one Treacherous Blessing. This gives us the opportunity to pick apart their first really dangerous play. And we still have a lot of card draw going on, so we should be able to survive -1 Treacherous Blessing. Alright, cannot keep the one lander. This is better. We have Scryland, we've got Duress. Let's get rid of the swamp. Don't need a land. Okay. We can go ahead and duress here because we may want to play Oath of Kaya next turn. I think I like taking Nissa and then letting them Agonizing Remorse our Oath of Kaya. So they're a bit flooded over there as well. Now we're hoping to find a Doom Foretold. Archon of Sun's Grace is a good one as well. So they can Uro this turn, we'll Archon, and then it's really a matter of if we can chain together an enchantment or two. That is not only an enchantment, but probably the best possible enchantment we could draw here. As long as our Archon can survive for a turn, we're in really good shape. If not, it's going to be interesting. Alright. It feels like with this play we have definitely taken the initiative. I think it makes sense to play this and Starfield Mystic. Alright, so here, even Casualties of War, while it's not great, leaves us with quite a good presence on the board, as well as two really strong cards in hand. And them playing nothing certainly seems to work out pretty well for us. Let's see, how do we start? Since this is instant speed, I'm okay attacking first here. Might be trying to bounce the Archon. If that's the case, we'll Omen of the Sea in response. I could also be really sneaky. Attack with the Starfield Mystic, play Omen of the Sea, sack Omen of the Sea. That does not seem worthwhile though. Interesting. In that case, let's go ahead and play out the Omen here. I'm a little bit baffled as to what they're up to over there. Alright, so they just timed it slightly differently so I wouldn't get the 2-2. Makes sense. Both of these cards are pretty incredible. Yeah, we'll keep both of them. Puts a lot of pressure on them. I think playing this back out makes the most sense. Could consider Narset instead, but I like forcing them to deal with this again. Alright, and unless they do something spectacular on this turn, I think we're going to be able to close this one out. They bring back Uro. That doesn't really leave them enough mana to do anything super scary. Here, the worst they can do is kill our Starfield Mystic.
Alive.
Okay, so they're just trying to find something here, but again, I don't feel like there's much they can do from this position. So the only real benefit of having played out Narset would be not letting them draw the card there, but that seems much worse than having the Archon in play. So we're going to go with Starfield Mystic into ECD. Get rid of Uro. And I think it is worthwhile to take out the Vraska here. As far as I know, they don't have any Wraths, so the fact that we've gone pretty wide here makes it really hard for them to even find a way back. Alright. So, let's start with Narset here.
If you wish to surrender, keep an open mind.
And Dance of the Manse seems significantly better than Mystical Dispute. I think here... I want to get the 2-2 off of Archon, knowing that it's going to come back with Elspeth Conquers Death. I'm going to play this out and actually hit the Hydroid Krasis. That way, if they choose to block with it, no matter what they choose to block, the Krasis will also die. Alright, so essentially what that did is it prevented them from actually killing our Archon there. And obviously guaranteed us the 2-2. Ooh, that's pretty cool. I definitely like the last hurrah there. That's a cool card to bring in, but not enough to stop us from grabbing the victory there. And we are now up to 3 wins. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye.